This past offseason, there was obviously all types of drama involving the Green Bay Packers, specifically the Aaron Rodgers situation. Was he going to be back in the fold? Was he going to come back in 2021? Did he want to be there? Was he going to leave? Was he going to try and host Jeopardy? Was he going to demand a trade and go elsewhere? Like, what was going to go down? We found out the answer ultimately, that Aaron Rodgers was going to run it back. Him and Davante Adams, it was going to be the last dance in 2021 until it wasn't. So if you're a Packers fan, you didn't want to let go just yet. You wanted another shot at it. Say, let's run it back again, and maybe this year we can actually win a Super Bowl, get to a Super Bowl again with Aaron Rodgers. Well, you had at least that part of the wish fulfilled because Aaron Rodgers did come back. And I'll say this, is that you probably looked at this team after that opening blowout loss to the New Orleans Saints and you said, you probably sat there saying to yourself, R-E-L-A-X, relax. You certainly need to because they look like shit. Aaron Rodgers looked bad. The defense looked bad. That offense looked atrocious. Like, one game does not a season make, especially when it's the opening week. A lot of crazy things can happen. A lot of teams play poorly then, but they looked absolutely awful in that game. Fortunately for them, though, they won their next 7 games in a row, including that Thursday night game where they gave Arizona their first loss of the season. But as you were getting the Packers really into a rhythm, then you had the whole controversy about him and whether he was vaccinated or not. And he tested positive for COVID. And he was going to be out a game. And that's the game they faced against the Kansas City Chiefs. And Jordan Love stepped in and the Packers lost that game. And it's like nothing but drama with this damn Aaron Rodgers dude one way or another. I'm not making any statements about the COVID crap one way or another. I'm just saying, like, he tested positive. That was a fact. He wasn't vaccinated. That's a fact. He missed a game. That's a fact. And it was a big hullabaloo about it. That's also a fact. But it didn't matter. Like, they were still clearly the class of the NFC North. And one of the class teams in the NFC. So it's not that surprising that the Green Bay Packers, with an Aaron Rodgers in the fold, were able to finish 13-4, win their division, and end up, via tiebreakers, winning the number 1 spot, meaning the top seed in the NFC, getting that first round bye. The road to the Super Bowl, going through Lambeau. And I will admit, honestly, I thought this time was going to be a little bit different. I honestly thought that this might actually be the season. Because while Rodgers was good, I didn't think he was quite as good as the previous season. But their defense felt like they were good enough to win a title with. Their running game felt good enough. There was more offensive balance there. And even with me saying it wasn't quite at the 2020 MVP level, they're still really damn good in 2021. Like, 37 touchdown passes, 4 interceptions, 1 and 2 of those interceptions came in the Saints game. It's just tremendous how little he actually puts the ball at risk, how little he actually turns the ball over. And I thought, when I looked at the landscape of the NFC, and I said, well, if they get the Buccaneers again, I think they can beat the Buccaneers. I think they can beat the Rams in the playoffs, especially if it has to go through Lambeau. I didn't look at any of those teams and say that the Packers couldn't beat them. But unfortunately for them, they got a really bad matchup in the divisional round because the Cowboys didn't handle their business in the wild card round. And they had to take on the 49ers, who were able to get in Rodgers' face, generate a ton of pressure with their front four, defend Davante Adams and force other receivers to beat him, and they couldn't do it. Then late in that game, even then, the Packers still had a lead as poorly as they were playing offensively. Their defense was stepping up and playing really, really well, shutting down the 49ers. Then you had the special teams block punt that gets returned for a touchdown. And then you're like, holy shit, the 49ers just went into Lambeau and beat the Packers to advance to the NFC Championship game. So not only did the Packers run it back again to not make it to the Super Bowl, they technically regressed and couldn't even make it back to the NFC Championship game. Good Christ almighty. So a lot of questions, a lot of thoughts about whether or not this was going to be the swan song, and that was truly it for Aaron Rodgers and Green Bay. And, I still bounce back and forth about what's the right decision or not. Now, as a Bears fan, you might sit there and say, well, he wants Aaron Rodgers gone. No, I'd rather beat Aaron Rodgers. To be the best, you got to beat the best. The real competitor in me says, no, I don't care how many times he kicked the shit out of the Bears in the past. I want Justin Fields and the Bears to beat him. Not be handed the top of the division by default. Not having the path be easier. I want them to earn that. I want them to beat Green Bay. So I'm happy Aaron Rodgers is back. Because it also means it largely invalidates the draft selection a couple years ago of Jordan Love in the first round. Like, that looks really, really bad now. You could say, well, maybe drafting him sparked Aaron Rodgers to play great late in his career, and there's certainly something to that, yes, but goddamn. You invested a first-round pick when you're in a championship window on a quarterback that's now going to go into the third year of his rookie deal with hardly seeing the field. And if you believe the reports about Aaron Rodgers getting the massive extension, which I would, because otherwise why the fuck would he come back in 2022? Why would he cede that leverage? That would make no damn sense. Then Jordan Love, at a minimum, is not going to be the starting guy through the end of, if he even had a fifth-year option picked up, which he probably wouldn't. So yeah, that pick looks really bad. But if you're a Packers fan right now, maybe you don't care. You're just happy that the greatest quarterback in franchise history is going to be back in the fold in 2022 and beyond, and you'll have a little less drama involving the team and the quarterback position over the next couple of years, and I get that. Now you got to wait and see what happens with Davante Adams. Not surprisingly, the Green Bay Packers threw the franchise tag on him and said, we'll figure it out later. We'll figure out how to get to the salary cap, and they're still trying to work to get under the salary cap. Not surprisingly, Davante Adams doesn't seem that eager to want to sign the franchise tag, doesn't want to play under the franchise tag. I can't blame him. Get paid while you can, and get that big money deal while you're coming off of a great season. Get a big money deal while you have the ability to. Don't take a chance for another year, because what happens if you play poorly? You're not going to get as much money. Got to get paid. It's the number one goal of the program when you're talking about playing professional sports. It's not winning championships. That's dumb fan thinking. Number one goal of the program is to create generational wealth for yourself and your family, whoever it might be, and be able to live comfortably the rest of your life off of the efforts that you put forth in the athletic endeavors. So anyways, Packers still got questions about what's going to happen this offseason. They got some free agents of note: Zadarius Smith, Billy Turner, Robert Tonyan, Devondre Campbell, who came in and played great last year, Rasul Douglas, Alan Lazard, Marquez Valdez-Scantling. So they've certainly got guys that they're not going to be able to keep. They may have to pick and choose their spots in terms of who they're going to continue to invest in, who they're going to be able to bring back, who they can afford to bring back. Like, let's see how creative Gutekunst is going to be with terms of the salary cap. Time will tell. But they do need to focus on the draft as well and get some offensive pieces around Aaron Rodgers. Like, if he's going to be the dude, like, you do have to invest there more now. You do. Because you probably, I would think, releasing Randall Cobb, because you could clear several $1 million of the salary cap space by cutting him. I doubt you'd bring back both Lazard and Valdez-Scantling, and even if you did, you could certainly upgrade over one or both of them. You know, this is probably a good wide receiver class for them to do that. They need to invest in that position. Same thing I would say at tight end. Like, you need better weapons in the passing game for Aaron Rodgers than what you've got. It can't be so Davante Adams heavy, because when it is, you get into a spot against a team like San Francisco where they're able to get in your face or they're able to defend in the secondary, you're going to run into some major problems and your offense is going to bog down. And then defensively, I think they need some help alongside Kenny Clark on the defensive line in that linebacking core, you know, especially on the inside, and probably could use a safety because maybe Adrian Amos is a salary cap casualty, or maybe he's a guy you look at being gone after 2022. What are you going to do long-term with Darnell Savage when he's still on his rookie deal? Like, you could use a little more depth there in the back end of that secondary. But the Packers are running it back. And certainly they're going to be in the mix, and they're going to be contenders. But what's going to be so different this time in 2022 that puts them over the top? We'll see what they do in this offseason. They're going to have to do something, because the way it's currently constructed is not good enough. It's not getting the job done. Something has to change. That's the challenge for the Green Bay Packers front office, figuring out what they've got to change and how they're going to be able to change it.